Dan Campbell cried after he lost to the Minnesota Vikings. The Lions remain winless at 0-5. They lost 17-19. Vikings hit a game-winning kick. The Lions were down 16-6 with under 4 minutes left. I watched the game. I couldn't believe they came back. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But they came back, kicking the field goal. Then Alexander Mattison fumbled. That was followed with a touchdown from DeAndre Swift. And then a 2-point conversion from Goff to Hodges, who's an unknown receiver. Put the Lions up 17-16. The Vikings with 2 timeouts drove down, kicked the field goal. And Dan Campbell cried and just talked about how proud of his players he was. They fight and work so hard, and he just feels awful for them. You could feel the tears coming from his face. I could feel the emotion. Dan Campbell, before he got hired by the Lions, when he got hired by the Lions, I thought was a cool coach. I seen his interviews. I know the media tried to portray him as a meathead or as somebody who's an idiot.
That kneecap comment? Yeah.
But when you actually watch him talk, I watched him on Pat McAfee. I watched his introductory press conference. He's actually a really good dude, and him doing this and crying is not a surprise to me. I've compared him before to Ted Lasso, if you guys have watched that show. Ted Lasso is a hit Apple TV show where a coach who's never coached the sport of soccer before goes from being a football coach to a soccer coach for a Premier League soccer team. And Ted Lasso acts exactly like Dan Campbell, or Dan Campbell acts exactly like Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso has a famous quote in the show: sometimes you win, but you actually lose, and sometimes you lose, but you actually win. I feel like that's something Dan Campbell would say. I like that he cried because it shows that he actually cares about his players. But will this philosophy be successful? I'm not sure, because you see Bill Belichick, who's one of the coldest coaches ever. He has won so much. You see Mike Tomlin, who's a laid-back, chilled players coach. And I wouldn't say chill, but he's a laid-back players coach who has always had a winning record. And Dan Campbell, who is a empathetic, sympathetic coach towards his players. We'll see if this puts the Lions in the right direction. But if I was a Lions fan, how could you not like Dan Campbell? It shows that he cares about Detroit, the fans, and the players. That's all you could ask for from a fan of a coach.
No, yeah, you hit it right on the head. And players want to see that. Players want to see your coach be as passionate about the game as them. And, you see him crying up there. Obviously, he really wanted this one. And granted, they're 0-5. They don't have a W, but, they've been competitive. Your Vikings take is going to suck at the end of the year. I just want to let you know that.
They're 2-3, bro.
Yeah,
they're not winning the division,
yeah,
bro.
that take sucks. But
they got the Panthers. They're going to beat the Panthers.
Yeah.
Next.
Maybe.
The Panthers just lost to the Eagles, bro. Darnold threw 3 picks.
You almost just lost to the Lions. Don't try to disrespect us.
It's turning into
16-6. It should have been a blowout.
It should have been. You always say it should have been. That's your favorite line. The Vikings should be 4-1.
With the Vikings, a should have is real legit.
Oh my!
Is it?
Just like the Lions should be 2-3 for being realistic.
Okay, you got to stop.
He's definitely right about that.
I say they should have beat the Ravens. Facts.
They should have beat the Vikings.
Based on the odd percentages after they went up 17-16,
okay.
yes, absolutely.
With 30-some seconds left, you shouldn't have blown it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, still, getting your coach to cry like that, he really wanted this one.
Oh, no doubt.
And, that shows leadership, It shows character. And I like that. I like that in coaches. It puts something in the players, puts a fire. The team still sucks, don't get me wrong.
So, Ray, if you want to be a coach, would you cry like that?
100%. I'm one of them coaches that if we win, I'm going jumping in with them.
That's a fact.
I'm saying, would you cry to the media if you just start sobbing?
Yeah, I'd probably be mad as hell crying.
Riv's a low-key emotional guy. People don't see that.
What the fuck?
Behind the camera, bro.
What's wrong with you?
He knows it. He's sad. He's sick. I just exposed him.
No. Yeah, I'd cry. If we lost, if we're 0-5, I probably wouldn't cry. But if we're like 4-1 and we just lost that one, I'd probably cry.
It gets to a point where you just have had so much heartbreak and you just snap at one point. And that's probably just exactly what happened with him. Listen, I respect it. Again, I'm just going to piggyback. You see a coach that obviously isn't on the team, isn't on the field, isn't actually performing, but cares enough that he's willing to cry for his guys. That the emotion of the game really drove him to have that type of emotion. I respect that from a coach for sure. But do I ultimately think that it'll impact the team to win? Unfortunately, not this season. They just have too many injuries. Their O-line's banged up to hell. Taylor Decker gone. Frank Ragnow gone. He just got placed on the IR. Tyrell Crosby, he's out too. So basically their entire O-line outside of Penei Sewell is out right now. Receiver-wise, Quintez Cephas is out. Tyrell Williams, who was probably the big-time signing that they had for their offense, obviously outside of acquiring Jared Goff, he's on the IR as well. Right now, when you're relying on Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I do have good faith in for the future, obviously he's not ready for a prime time this season. And then Khalif Raymond, they just got him from Tennessee. This isn't a team that's primed to win now, but they've had some close games. They've looked at least they've looked serviceable. So this gives me hope for the next season. Do I think they'll go 0-17? No, they're gonna win a game eventually. Listen, they're 0-5. People are gonna ask the question: are they gonna go 0-17? I don't think they'll go 0-17. I think it's inevitable that they
I don't think that's a hot take.
That they go 0-17. I mean, with the people that I just named that are starting for them, I mean, this isn't. This
you don't even know who Kadir Hodge is.
I promise you, I don't.
No, this team is definitely shaky, but I do think for the future, it's something to look forward to. At least you have a coach for the Lions that actually cares about them. Last coach that really held it down for them was Schwartz, and he had some success.
Schwartz, yeah.
Jim Schwartz was a solid coach for them. He was obviously more defensive-minded. This defense hasn't been atrocious as what I expected coming into this season, as last year they were so terrible defensively. Campbell actually has the players believing in what he's saying. You see it on the field. It's just not translating to wins yet. Eventually it will.
I mean, this is a team that I thought was gonna go winless. I just don't like you just reading me their roster right now. They just
Bro, after Tyrell Williams, I lost it.
Like it's just like I mean, look, I love that as a head coach, like you're wearing your emotions on your sleeve, you're crying. Definitely shows you really care about your players. So as a player, I would appreciate that, but I mean, just in terms of the Lions roster, I mean, everybody knows, and I know as much as a coach doesn't want to admit, I'm pretty sure he knows that this was a rebuilding year. This is a year that, they were just going to it's like just a year where you can see what you've got in these young guys that you give them a shot, you know what I mean? So, I mean, in terms of him crying and everything, I think that's great. I think that should pump up the players, but turn it around in what way? Like win a couple. Like the question was, what was the question?
Can they win a couple games?
I mean, I was looking at their. Hold on, I have their offensive.
That was the question
right here.
And also,
yes.
I mean, in offensively, they're ranked 24th. Defensively, they're ranked 22. So, I mean, I thought it was much worse than that.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not a bad team.
So it's not long. So, I mean,
5.
Okay, all right, Joel.
I think they're a competitive team.
They are.
They're the most competitive bad team maybe ever.
Drew, please, just for a minute, please. Joel, you gotta stop,
bro. But I see a lot of close games here, though.
I don't. You are 0-5. You are a bad team.
No. Nobody's saying they're not a bad team.
They almost came back against listen. They almost came back against the 49ers.
Yes.
They should have beat Minnesota.
Okay.
They should have beat the Baltimore Ravens, who we view as the best team, one of the best teams in the AFC.
Right.
So the Lions should be 2-3 right now.
What does this all ended up to? Their record is.
They're 0-5.
Yeah, so
but are they a competitive team? I don't think they're a horrible.
They're a competitively bad team.
Are they? They're bad though. You have to just say they're
bad.
You can't be 0-5.
I mean, they're rebuilding though. We're not disrespecting them.
They're competitive.
They're
competitive. Yeah, that's AKA their bad team.
You know what I think also though? I think what the Lions are going through is what the Browns went through. The Browns, they had awful records, but their offensive line was always one of the best in the NFL. The Lions' offensive line is going to be one of the best in the NFL in a couple years. Yeah. I think in the next 2 years, Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Vitae from Philadelphia. I'm telling you, this offensive line is really good.
Joel, would you say the Jets are a bad team?
The Jets are a bad team.
That's hilarious.
They're a bad team. So
the Lions are better than the Jets.
Yeah, they are. But
they're better than the Jets.
I agree. I think
the Lions are better than the Texans too.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Just because you have 0 wins doesn't necessarily mean.
I mean, but we're comparing you to other bad teams. So the Lions are a bad team.
They're bad. Yes, they are a bad team. But they're the best bad team of the bunch.
I mean, that's not even mean.
The Lions are the best bad team of the bunch.
I'm just trying. Probably.
What the hell does that mean? What does that mean?
Not much. It doesn't
mean
that
they're competitive.
You gotta stop.
When somebody
there's
says
a culture shift in Detroit going on right now.
When somebody says that they want their team to be competitive, they're a competitive team. That's a nice way of saying they're not a good team. Let's be real.
The Lions bad this year. The Lions bad this year is way different than the Lions bad with Matt Patricia.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you all a question.
That was bad.
We all are on the NFL team, right? We're all in the locker room getting dressed. No, we're getting dressed. We're 8-1, right? And coach comes into the locker room. He's like, all right, guys, you know who we're playing this week? They're 0-7. But they're competitive. What are you gonna say when he says that? Are you not gonna take this game like, bro, they're trash, they're 0-7, we're good, bro? Or are you gonna say, nah, they're competitive, bro, we gotta come bring our A game? What are you gonna say?
I mean,
because
I don't know,
I'm me and I'll take every game like it's my last. I'm gonna say
no, that's not a bad. That's not.
We got to take them as serious as the Kansas City
Chiefs. People don't realize how hard it is to get wins in the NFL, bro. You know what I mean?
I just think
every win is hard earned for the most part.
If the team is 0-5, I'm just gonna be like, bro.
I mean, so you're not gonna take the game serious?
Not saying I'm gonna come to play.
Right,
you're gonna Marcus Peterson.
Let me ask you, King. Do they get a couple wins?
I think they finished
their
with
schedule, man.
3, okay.
Who's the 3 teams that you think they beat?
I don't know who it's gonna be, but I know they'll finish.
Do you think they can take one from the Bears?
Okay, I'm gonna tell it to you right now. Versus Cincinnati.
Look, I don't want you to name me the entire.
No, go ahead. I mean, let's
go ahead. They're not beating the Bears.
Run it to you. Cincinnati.
Probably not.
Rams.
No.
Probably not.
Philly.
No.
It's possible.
Philly,
it's
they could
possible.
beat you. They could beat you guys.
I hate all of you.
Possible.
Bro, they
almost
beat the Ravens.
Okay.
They almost beat Minnesota.
Okay, fine.
It's
Whatever.
possible.
Pittsburgh.
It's possible.
I would say no.
I would say no.
I'm not asking you two Neanderthals. I'm asking them. Cleveland. No. Chicago.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
Minnesota.
No.
Denver.
Yes.
They can't. No.
Minnesota
Minnesota
can
blew
just
them
pick.
out.
Denver.
Yeah.
Arizona.
No.
Atlanta.
Yes.
Seattle.
No.
Green Bay.
Well, with Geno Smith, yes. Russell was a no.
That's week 16, 17.
Okay, yeah, Russell was.
Geno
Green Bay.
looked good. Stop it.
Huh?
Green Bay.
No.
So
Geno's
you
so
said about
whack.
4 or 5.
I said 3.
I don't like him.
4 or 5.
like
I
maybes.
said
No,
3.
4 or 5 maybes. Like 2
him.
maybes and 3
Okay.
yes. So I got him winning 2 games.
He said yes to
yo,
the Broncos. And
He's
you let some of these
hilarious.
other
He said
ones
with
fly.
Geno, yes. Geno's so trash, bro.